शरं नवभावदरं नवलास्यपरं नवघोरवरं नवपुष्पशरं नवभावदरं नवलास्यपरं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं नवहास्यकरं नवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं नवप्रेमयुतं नवनीतशुचं नववेशकृतं नवप्रेमरसं शुभप्रेममयं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं हरिभक्तिपरं हरिनामधरं करजाप्यकरं हरिनामपरं नयने सततं प्रणयाश्रुधरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत सततं जनता भवतापहरं परमार्थपरायण लोकगतिं भवतापहरं नवलेहकरं जगतापहरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं निजभक्तिकरं प्रियचारुतरं नटनतननागरराजकुलं नटनतननागरराजकुलं कुलकामिनिमानसलास्यकरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं करतालवलं कलकण्ठरवं मृदुवाद्यसुवीणिकया मधुरं निजभक्तिगुणावृतनाट्यकरं प्रणमामि शचीसुत गौरवरं युगधर्मयुतं पुनर्नन्दसुतं धरणी सुचित्रं भवभावोचितं समुद्रारचितं निजवासयुतं प्रणमामि शचीसुतगौरवरम् अरुणं नयनं चरणं वसनं वदने स्खलितं स्वकनामधरम् कुरुते सुरसां जगतः जीवनं प्रणमामि शचीसुतगौरवरम् कुरुते सुरसां जगतः जीवनं प्रणमामि शचीसुतगौरवरम् नवगौरवरं नवपुष्पाशरं नवभावधरं नवलास्यपरम् नवहास्यकरानवहेमवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुतगौरवरम् प्रणमामि शचीसुतगौरवरं प्रणमामि शचीसुतगौरवरम् हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय गौरा हरे जय गौर हरे जय गौर हरे जय गौर हरे निताय गौरंग जय गौर हरे निताय गौरंग जय गौर हरे सच्चिदाष्टकम की श्री गौरंग महाप्रभु की जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन यमुना तीरा वनचारी Ramuna Tera Vanakari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihar Gopi Dara Varava Girivaragadi Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Shodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Ramunatira Vanakari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्री श्री राधा माधव ललिता विशाखा की श्री श्री जानकी जानकी वल्लभ लक्ष्मण हनुमान की श्री श्री गौनिताय की श्रील प्रभुपाद की समावेत भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. Welcome all of you for the Bhagavatam class this morning. We discussed about two sessions we had. First session we had on the importance of human form of life in performing devotional austerities, like Bharat Maharaj. At the time of Vanaprastha, he cultivated detachment and went to the forest and performed his regulative austerities and devotion to Lord Hari, and how we all in our life also should, not chase after the material mirage, but fulfill the duty in the human form of life by cultivating detachment through devotional service. That was the first session we did. The second session we did was about how, although originally he went to the forest with the pure intention to perfect his human form of life, in the forest he got a bit carried away by his compassion for the deer, and this type of distraction is likely to come in every sadhaka's life. So if we are not mindful of these distractions which come, and if we don't know how to keep ourselves away from these distractions, whether it is your academic studies or whether it is your spiritual progress, it's going to become a big stumbling block. You will see that those who are really toppers and very intelligent students also, once they take a book, they just absorb themselves in that. You've seen that? Same thing with chanting Hare Krishna or studying Prabhupada's books. So, a time for doing everything, and everything should be done in time. Just like we say, in your room also, a place for everything and everything in its place. Like, if you want to find a book, it will be in this place. If you have to find my clothes, it will be here. If you have to find my bedding, it will be here. So if you have a place for everything and everything in its place, then it is easy to find or difficult to find? Easy to find. Same way, morning to night, a time for doing everything. This is the prasadam time. This is a sleeping time. This is a study time. And you have a very well planned time management plan. You stick to it, then you can accomplish a lot in your life. Otherwise, in the morning, you have no serious plan in life. Today, I don't know how am I going to spend. Definitely Maya will creep in when there is some free time. So we should have very well planned day. In the same manner, we learned a lot of lessons about distraction. Eyes and ears are the greatest distractors, correct? Huh? We learned about that. And also we learned the importance of focus and concentration. And then feeding and fencing. How to feed the positive and how to fence the negative. We learned many things for our practical life. And from Bharata's life, we saw that, did it happen overnight or gradually? Little by little, day by day, his fixity on spiritual principles became slackened. And then he took his attention away from Krishna and started placing it on the deer, gradually. In this way, we may say we don't have any deer in our room, but our deer, everyone's deer is different. So what is the deer for you in your life? Our deers are those with items which are distracting us from our original goal. So you have your academic goal, you have your spiritual goal. So these are substantial things one has to do. But you see, from the substantial goal, there are trivial distractions. Trivial means not so important, useless distractions. Everybody has this experience. You go to computer also, you are doing some important work, some pop-up comes, you get distracted. You see this, you see that, and then And the main goal is forgotten, isn't it? So that was one session we spent time. Today we are going to spend on another very important session. The next chapter you will find. Now what happened to him? Bharat Maharaj, due to the distraction, eventually he developed a deep attachment. What started as a playful attraction for fondling the deer, initially, that turned into a very deep-rooted attachment where he could not be separated from the deer. He became mad after the deer, like that. This is how sense gratification begins. Initially, it looks like a very playful thing, but eventually it becomes very difficult to give it up. Just like, once we had gone to Jagannath Puri. In the ocean, people are calling. Even many of us didn't know swimming, but they call, come, 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 little bit, just at least to touch the water. So up to knee deep, we thought we can go. When some of us went, immediately we saw a big wave came and we were looking here and there, pat, it came and hit. And immediately I fell down like this in the water. Then by the time I can put my hand and get up, I find that the sand below my hand and the legs are getting eroded by the water. And you can't keep the hand only. And by the time slowly you get up, pat, another wave. And then I also found a wave came and caught hold of both my feet and pulling me inside. I was here, from here I went up to that projector. This much it dragged me in. And I thought I am gone now today. Because it is dragging in, as if somebody is catching and pulling inside. So somehow or other I resumed my strength and I got up and I raised my hand to call some people. They thought I am saying Haribol. Others are saying Haribol, Haribol. How to make them understand I am in trouble, isn't it? Then instead of standing like this, then I stood like this and tried to slowly move towards the shore. Another wave came and pat, hit me from behind. And because it hit me from here, it's like I was taken by the wave like this and thrown in the shore. Like this. I was practically flying up. And it hit me like this. Probably if I was standing like this again, I'll be knocked down. So at last I was saved. Why I'm telling you, initially it was not so harsh, the waves. Initially it was tickling the feet. It was nice, very pleasurable experience, right? So sense gratification is always like that. Initially, tick, 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 it will be a little bit sense gratification. It will be very tickling. In the beginning, it will be very titillating. But later on, pat! It will give you a slap and beat. So, this is like this snowball effect, we call it. If you're coming in Himalayas down, say playfully you kick the ice with your feet. Like ice balls, you kick it. But when you're coming down the mountain, you will see that these ice balls, they gradually, they roll up and become big in size. Like small ball becomes like football. It becomes like this. And then suddenly you hear a sound, what is that? And then you see a big ball is coming down from the mountain. Zoom, 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 zoom. And it'll come and hit you on your back. Because initially you just kicked it playfully, but it has started gathering momentum now. So sense gratification is also like that. If you are going to be careless in the beginning, the early stages of sense gratification, one should curb it. Fire, death, disease should be curbed or nipped in the bud. Because if you nip them in the bud, they have no scope to grow. Correct now? A small spark of fire, if you neglect, it will burn down everything. Correct now? It will grow. Similarly, disease. Some people allowed corona to, cause some sneezing. They didn't take any attention. Then it went to the nose, it stays some 2 days, and throat, it stays 4 days. Still they didn't, they were coughing, but they didn't take action. Then it goes into lungs. And then inside the lungs, it's troubling. That's the time they run to doctor. And then they get breathing problem. You have to get oxygen cylinder and everything. 6 days they neglect that. And then 7th day onward, they are in trouble. You've seen that? It happen? That means they should have attended well in the beginning, correct? So sense gratification also, if you are going to be careless in the beginning, you have to pay a heavy price later. Therefore, alertness is required in spiritual life. Always. One of the aspects of alertness is to put ourselves always in a safe association of devotees. That is one aspect of alertness, because even if we are little lacking alertness, others will warn us. But in the case of Bharat Maharaj, he had no devotee association. He was alone in the forest. So he was not alert, and there was no one to tell him that he was not alert. No one to warn him. That was the situation. So, fire, death, disease should be nipped in the bud. So in this way, he started searching out the deer. At last he died in the forest due to separation from the deer. You know, there are so many things that happened with him, how he considered it like a prince, like a Rajakumar or a Munikumar. Rajakumar is handsome, Munikumar is submissive. So he thought of the deer to be like Rajakumar or Munikumar. It is said. So the willful neglect in devotion service. So that brought a punishment for him for a short time, because he misused his position due to foolishness. So therefore he became a deer in the next life. So after he became a deer, then he got the realization. See, here he is telling, Aho kashtam brashta brashtoham atmavatam anupatat yad vimukta samasta sangasya vivikta. He is saying that, Aho kashtam, alas, what a miserable condition of life. Brashtoham, I have fallen down. Atmavatam anupatat, I was following the path of great devotees before. But yet vimukta samasta sangasya, I gave up all other bad association in the common people's lives, like I gave up my real sons and home and kingdom and everything. Vivikta punyaranya sharanasya atmavataha. I went to a solitary sacred forest, Tapovanam. Sharanasya, I had taken shelter of that forest. Atmavataha Atmani Sarvesham Atmanam Bhagavati Vasudeve. All living entities take shelter in Lord Vasudeva ultimately. That Supreme Lord, Master of all Masters, I took his shelter. But that, what I did for Vasudeva? Anushravana, Manana, Sankirtana, Aradhana, Anusmarana, Abhiyogena. He's saying, I was always hearing about him, thinking about him. Sankirtan, I was chanting his glories and worshipping him, Aradhana, Anusmarana, constantly remembering him. But Abhiyogena, and I was absorbed in it. But what happened? But Ashunya Sakala Yamena Kalena Samaveshitam Samahitam Katsnena Mana Tattu Punah Mama Abudasya. I became such a great fool, he's saying. To Punah Mama Abudasya Arat Mrgasutam Anuparishushrava, he's saying. I became distracted by a Mrgasutam, by a child of a deer. This way, although I was very rightly situated, I got distracted. He was very much lamenting like this. Yeah. One important thing we should know, see, one due to his read that. Mic, we should read in the mic. Where is the mic? Yeah. Read it. Quick. Don't waste time.
Due to his foolishness, he became attached to an insignificant deer and thus fell down and had to accept the body of a deer. This is significant for every devotee. If we misuse our position and think that we are fully engaged in devotional service and can do whatever we like, we have to suffer like Bharat Maharaj and be condemned to accept the type of body that impairs our devotional service. Only the human form is able to execute devotional service. But if we voluntarily give this up for sense gratification, we certainly have to be punished. This punishment is not exactly like that endured by an ordinary materialistic person. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, a devotee is punished in such a way that his eagerness to attain the lotus feet of the Lord Vasudev is increased.
Amazing, no? This is the way Lord punishes the devotee. There's a difference between, police taking out a belt, whipping a thief, and the mother slapping a child for not studying. The mother may say, hey, beta, you're not studying? Sometimes parents pinch also, correct, no? Like the devil door pinch or something like that. But mother, how will she do for a son or a daughter? Huh? When she's doing, sometimes mother will catch like this. You seen that? Hmm? But mother slapping a child or pinching a child is much different than the police whipping a belt and beating a thief. Agree? Because police beating a thief is like Maya Devi kicking conditioned souls. Huh? Whereas when Krishna wants to punish his devotees, that is like mother or father punishing a child for naughty behavior. Huh? So therefore, when a devotee is punished by the Lord, he punishes in such a way that the attraction for the Lord will be increased. That's how Lord arranges that. Yes. Shravana, Manana, Sankirtana, Aradhana, Anusmarana, Abhiyogena. The constant hearing and chanting of the glories of the Lord is recommended in the Bhagavad Gita Satyam Kirtan. So those who have taken to Krishna consciousness should be very careful that not a single moment is wasted and that not a single moment is spent without chanting and remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his activities. By his own actions and by the actions of his devotees, Krishna teaches us how to become cautious in devotional service. So Bharat Maharaj is not an ordinary person. Lord is using his own pure devotee to teach us a lesson. He is not weak, we are weak. He, Lord sometimes, Prabhupada gives example, sometimes a newly wedded girl comes to Bahu. She comes to the mother-in-law, father-in-law's house, correct now? Just now she has come. And she may be very educated girl, but she's not taught in cooking sometimes. It happens like that. So, and the mother-in-law is seeing how she is serving prasad to the guests. When she's serving, she's putting little, very little rice in one corner. And she's putting this much sabji in the middle. And mother-in-law is watching, what a foolish girl. Huh? She may be very good in computer, but she doesn't know how to serve prasad. Huh? So she wants to chastise her. Can she chastise? Mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, Leela is very famous in India. So she doesn't want to chastise her. So what she does, she taunts her own daughter. She says, hey daughter, how foolish you are. Why are you serving like this? Because both are serving. Everybody is serving. She is serving, her daughter is serving, daughter-in-law is serving, everybody is serving. So then daughter-in-law is very happy. Oh, she thought her daughter has committed the mistake, not me. Like that, she learns like that. She learns. Silently she learns. Without being taunted by the mother-in-law. But mother-in-law knows very well, mistake is not of the daughter, mistake is of the... So like that, in this example, who is daughter-in-law? All of us. Who is daughter? Pure devotees like Bharat Maharaj. And mother-in-law is Krishna. So therefore Krishna teaches us through his pure devotees. That's the point he is saying. Same way in Bhagavad Gita also. Ashocchanan vashavachastvam prajnabhadanscha bhashase katasunscha na anushochanti pandita. Hey, you're speaking like a great learned man and you are weeping in the beginning of the battle. How foolish you are, he says. You don't know the difference between body and soul. So those who are reading the Bhagavad Gita, they also, most people don't know what is body, what is soul. But when Krishna chastises Arjuna, then they also learn, oh, this is the truth, I didn't know it. Imagine if Krishna chastises the reader. You foolish reader who is opening Gita, you don't know what is soul, what is body. What do you think they will do? They'll just close the book and run away. So, therefore, he is teaching through pure devotees. Through the medium of Bharat Maharaj, Krishna teaches us that we must be careful in the discharge of devotion service. If we want to keep our minds completely fixed without deviation, we must engage them in devotion service full time. See, full time is not only shaving the head and becoming brahmachari, becoming full time in the temple. That is also called full time. But here Prabhupada is saying, if we want to keep our minds completely fixed without deviation, we must engage them in devotional service full time, he says. That means mind and senses should be always engaged. So I was checking what Prabhupada means by this full time. What Prabhupada says, as soon as there is a gap, and that gap is generally used by the conditioned soul for the purpose of sense gratification. As soon as there is a gap. So therefore, for example, you're standing in the railway line, the railway station for purchasing a ticket, 200 people are standing in a queue. Immediately, have a recorder or something, hear some lecture. Have some flashcards with shlokas, memorize some shlokas, or have a Prabhupada's book, you can read it. Don't waste a single moment. So, one has to be very attentive to check where all I get some free time in the day. And that is the time we should utilize it. That's what he's saying. And if you don't utilize that time, then there's a tendency for us to look around. People walking on the road are looking who is inside the auto. People inside auto are saying who is outside. Everybody is staring at different people, correct? No? So the whole world, people are looking for sense gratification. So as soon as there's a free time, the senses become roaming senses. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, no? Vayu navame ambasi, what that was. Even one of the roaming senses goes here or there, that can carry away your mind like a boat in the middle of the ocean which is not anchored. It is swept by the wind. Like that, our mind will be swept by the roaming senses. So one should not waste the moment. As far as the members of International Society for Krishna Consciousness are concerned, they have sacrificed everything to push on this Krishna consciousness movement. Yet, they must take a lesson from the life of Bharat Maharaj to be very cautious and to see that not a single moment is wasted in frivolous talk, sleep, or voracious eating. What are the three things? Yeah. So, three things he is saying. So, how I remembered it very easily, the tongue has two activities. Sometimes the tongue voraciously eats and frivolously talks. Both are done by the tongue, correct? No? So instead of voracious eating, we should have regulated eating. Correct? And instead of frivolous talk, we should have Krishna conscious talk. Correct? No? And then another thing, how we can remember the sleep, because if we voraciously eat, we will go to sleep, the daytime. So if you want to cut the day sleep, we have to moderately eat. Correct? No? So you remember these three things: voracious eating, frivolous talk, and sleep. Prabhupada is saying that we should not waste our time in this. Eating is not prohibited, but if we eat voraciously, we shall certainly sleep more than required. Sense gratification ensues, and we may be degraded to a lower life form. In that way, our spiritual progress may be checked, at least for the time being, he says. The best course is to take the advice of Srila Rupa Goswami, Abhyartha Kalatvam. We should see that every moment of our lives is utilized for rendering of devotional service and nothing else. This is the secure position for one wanting to return home back to Godhead. You can be a Prabhuji, you can be Mataji, you can be children, you can be old man. Like one man was crying, he was telling, Swamiji, I am 65. Now I have come to Krishna consciousness. All my life I spent time in reading newspaper. So I had gone to his house for installing Srimad Bhagavatam. So he was 67 or 65, 67. so, so we had the Bhagavatam installation program. 1 year later I went to the same house. They wanted Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I was amazed to hear this fellow, he completed the whole Bhagavatam in 1 year period. He read it. How he read it, if you see, earlier he used to read newspaper 4 hours and watch TV 6 hours every day. After Bhagavatam came, he just picked up the first volume and started reading. He could not keep it down. Started reading continuously after that. So he said, within a month, he gave up everything, all coffee, tea. He gave up and watching TV, he closed. They sold the TV only. They don't have TV only. Yeah, he gave up, reading newspaper. Earlier he used to wear specs and read small letters in newspaper for 4 hours. He gave up all that. So his son was very surprised. He said, my father has been so lethargic in spiritual life, I never thought he'll become so serious. In 1 year, Bhagavatam made him so super serious. As I'm reading. So now he was telling me, now I'm already 67, I may live for 5-10 years. So is this period enough for me to go back to Godhead? So I told him, Parikshit, there are only 7 days. You have little more time you have. So better late than never. Make a beginning now, become serious. I told him immediately. So now he started chanting 32 rounds now. Because he said, anyway, I'm retired now. In fact, even his grandson is grown up now. So he says that I don't have to worry about anything. I can focus more on spiritual life. So in this way, now he's utilizing his time very fruitfully now. He's doing puja, he's reading Bhagavatam, he's chanting more rounds, going to the temple. He's become very, very serious. And his son told me, earlier he was such a chatterbox, useless politics, he will talk which party is going to come, you know. And he'll also be watching cricket in the TV. If somebody puts a sixer, he'll be clapping hands, jumping. Now he said he has become very sober and very serious now, because he's understood that message of the Srimad Bhagavatam has now had effect on his system now. In this way, although Bharat Maharaj received the body of a deer, by constant repentance he became completely detached from all material things. He did not disclose these things to anyone, but he left his mother deer in a place known as Kalanjara mountain, where he was born again. He again went to the forest of Shalagrama and to the ashrama of Pulastya and Pulaha. So, you will see that when Bharat Maharaj became a deer, how he became very serious in spiritual life. There are few symptoms you will observe. As he says here, he left his mother, father, brother, sister, family, friends circle because he thought that they will pamper me very much. If I stay with them, they'll feed me a lot and pamper me. Even like many mothers tell their sons, "Beta, itna jaldi kyun uth gaye? Huh? Why are you getting up so 5 o'clock in the morning? So jao, beta." And when they lovingly say, "So jao," you also feel, okay, I will also sleep. Correct? Huh? So you don't want to get up till 8 o'clock at home. Huh? So he thought they will pamper me. They'll put me to sleep and feed me very nutritious, nice things. I will become a lazy fellow. And also, when you have relatives and friends, there is a tendency to roam around and be jolly and do prajalpa, useless talks. Correct now? So he thought, let me leave that place, Kalanjara mountain, and he went to Pulahashrama. Huh? So that is first thing he did. And then what he did, see Prabhupada is saying here, association is very meaningful. Therefore, ISKCON tries to perfect one who enters the society. The members of this ISKCON society should always remember that the society is not like a free hotel. All the members should be very careful to execute their spiritual duties so that whoever comes will automatically become a devotee and will be able to return back to Godhead in this very life. Although Bharat Maharaj acquired the body of a deer, he again left his hearth and home, in this case, the mountain Kalanjara. No one should be captivated by his birthplace and family. One should take shelter of the association of devotees and cultivate Krishna consciousness. So, Prabhupada used to say that even those who are joining as brahmacharis, you ask, why do you want to be brahmachari? If somebody says, no, outside world I have to work very hard. If I come here, I can nicely take prasadam and relax. No. Then that is not a good motivation to join the ashram. Here you have to work more harder than outside. In fact, as I told you, except 6 hours of sleep, we have no other private life. Our life is like open book. Morning to night, we rise early in the morning, like 3 o'clock you get up, 9 o'clock you sleep. All day is for Krishna only. Krishna arte akhila cheshta. 24/7, we are only living for Krishna's sake. Prabhupada says ISKCON devotee means those who have not forgotten Krishna. They are ISKCON devotees, Prabhupada says. This society exists to remind people of Krishna. So those people who remember Krishna fondly and who want to remind others of Krishna, that is what ISKCON society is consisting of. So therefore you find this deer, he was very detached from his birthplace. Then subsequently he says that remaining in the ashram, the great King Bharat Maharaj was now very careful not to fall victim to bad association. Without disclosing his past to anyone, he remained in that ashrama and ate dry leaves only. So why did he eat dry leaves instead of succulent green leaves? Green leaves and green grass. Why he ate dry grass? Austerity. Because he thought that if I eat nice green grass, then I'll become a very plumpy deer. And other deers will be attracted to me. So then I'll be enjoying sense gratification. Because if you make the senses strong, body very, like we remember in the school, in the college days, boys used to go to gym. Why people go to gym? So you can get biceps. And you look in the mirror like this, isn't it? Why do you want biceps? Because you want to show off to girls. Look at me, how beautiful I look like, isn't it? So the tendency in the material world is make your body strong, senses strong, so you can show off to the opposite sex. The women also dress excessively, attractively, fashionably, or scantily, with lot of scent in the body, but as if their whole body is fragrant. So men and women in this world foolishly try to attract one another and forget Krishna. That's the way this world is. So he thought, I don't want to increase my sense gratification. I want to go back to Godhead. So let me keep my life simple. He ate very simple. What is the purpose of eating? To have a plumpy body or what? No? To keep the body and soul together. Correct? No? Keep the body and soul together and focus on Krishna and go back to Godhead. Therefore, he ate only dry grass. So he was not exactly alone. Actually, here he says that he wanted to avoid bad association. He didn't want to fall victim to bad association. So what he did, he was not exactly alone, for he had the association of the super soul. In this way, he waited for death in the body of a deer. Bathing in that holy place, he finally gave up that body. One more thing he did, when he went to Pulahashrama, there the saintly people were reciting Krishna Katha. He was sitting in the bush and hearing also, associating with sound vibration. It's a tapovanam. That means he went away from the birthplace. He stayed in the tapovanam where all are performing tapasya to go back to Godhead. He ate dry grass and he was constantly repenting, weeping that I have wasted my life. What a fool I was. So he was very deeply repentant. See, repentance means paschatap, we call it, no? That means the hot tears that comes from a devotee's eyes that washes away all the past sinful reactions. So he was remembering that I should not waste this lifetime. Prabhupada says here, holy places like Vrindavan, Haridwar, Prayag and Jagannath Puri are especially meant for the execution of devotional service. Vrindavana specifically is the most exalted and preferred holy place for Vaishnava devotees of Lord Krishna. And then Prabhupada is saying, by constantly chanting and hearing holy names and pastimes of the Supreme Lord, one certainly becomes purified and becomes a fit candidate for liberation. However, if one purposefully falls victim to sense gratification, he has to be punished at least for one lifetime like Bharat Maharaj. Prabhupada says in another purport, sometimes some even youngsters also think that Radhe, 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 they say like this, and they leave everything and they go to Vrindavan. And they live in the foot of Govardhan, or they live in the bank of Yamuna, and they think I will dedicate my life. With great fervent devotion in the beginning, they go there. But what happens in Vrindavan? You get braja roti and sabji and everything, and then you keep living there for some time, they gradually become slack due to no good association. And because of that, sometimes eventually, similarly, there are also many widows who don't have husband or parents or anybody to take care. So they also go to Vrindavan and live in the mathas. They try to get something to eat. So sometimes these men who go to Vrindavan for doing bhakti, they get distracted and become attracted to those widows. And when they fall down, next life Prabhupada says they become monkeys or dogs or pigs. Prabhupada says that. In one of the purport he says. Because they came originally with a good purpose, intention, but the purpose was forgotten. Correct, no? So therefore Prabhupada said, what we should do, we should not go to Vrindavan and stay, very dangerous. We should stay in ISKCON temples. Therefore we have ashram. If anybody want to execute devotional service, one shouldn't go to Vrindavan, because Vrindavan, if you go, you will be misled, because there are so many different panths, different paths, different people, that if you were to properly practice in Vrindavan, you may commit offenses. It's very risky. But if ISKCON temples are like a very safe ship, because you have the morning program, you have the classes, you have the festivals, you have the beautiful deities, you have Prabhupada's books available, and you have devotees to guide us. So with this safe arrangement, and I also, before coming to ISKCON, I was wandering to so many holy places and so many mathas, so many sannyasis I have met before, and I have read many books. So I always used to think, where is the safest place to practice spiritual life? And where is the first class philosophy which can lead me back to God? So this was my search, and I found ISKCON is the best place to practice. Krishna consciousness. And ISKCON philosophy is the best philosophy because our philosophy is not a denial, self-denial philosophy. Like you see, Buddhist and Jain and Vipassana, all these things are self-denial philosophy. They say, Brahman dekho, Brahman suno, Brahman bolo. Don't see bad, don't hear bad, don't speak bad. So they are actually trying to negate the negative. Whereas in ISKCON, you will see our Vaishnava philosophy teachers engaging in the positive. Use your eyes to see the deity form of Krishna. Use the ears to hear the glories of Krishna and the kirtan of Krishna. Use the mouth to take prasadam and chant the names of Krishna. So I like this engaging of the senses very nicely. Anybody can do, any common person can easily accept it. This philosophy, very simple. That's one thing I liked very much. Another thing I liked is this movement is a paropakar movement. Janma sarthaka korikara paropakar. That is something deeply touched my heart. We are not just taking care of our own moksha. Go to Vrindavan or go to Himalayas and take care of your own moksha. It's not like that. Our ISKCON temples are in the heart of the cities. We are staying and day in and day out, going out to colleges, going to schools, going to the streets, distributing prasad, distributing holy name, distributing Prabhupada's books, and teaching them, educating them. Like all of you students, you are getting educated by so many brahmacharis. You will see that these brahmacharis don't ask anything from you, right? Nowadays, if you have any course you put up even in college, they ask you what are the commercials. Correct, na? They ask commercial. Nowadays, even there is one college in Pune, for teaching one class on management principles from Bhagavad Gita, they are ready to give 10,000 rupees just for one class. So we are going to have 15 classes, 2 hours each. They are giving 10,000 rupees per class. Of course, we have not prescribed that. They were saying, this period we are allotting this much amount for the teacher. We have not yet entered into an agreement with them, we are going to. But why I am telling you, although so much money is involved in everything in this world, you will see that when it comes to ISKCON, nobody is demanded from you. So everything is given free. You will see that. When you come, there is beautiful darshan, there is prasad, there is association. So many teachers are giving their, they are putting the sweat and toil. The whole idea is to polish you and help you to become a pure devotee, and then ultimately who benefits? You go back to Godhead, that's all. Ultimately it's for your benefit. And if you choose this path, then you stand to gain. Correct, no? So that is what Prabhupada wanted, and I loved this organization for that, because this organization is exactly the need of the hour for the modern day educated people, who are thoroughly misled and they're groping in the darkness. So this has become such a wonderful facility, even for people wherever you may have colleges, schools, the city, anybody can come and people can connect with ISKCON and benefit. So in this way, the dear very nicely spent his life in a mood of repentance and austerity and devotion with sincerity. That's all we need. If you have this, Lord becomes very pleased. Because one more thing that happened to the deer is he had the Purva Janma Smriti. Correct, no? Remembrance of? Yeah, Krishna says that in Gita. Purvyabhyasena tenaiva kriyate hi avashopi saha jignasurapi yogasya shabda brahmati vartate tatrattam buddhi samyogam labate paurvadehikam yatate cha tato bhujaka samsiddhau kurunandana. Arjun, Krishna says, the living entity in this life remembers the previous life's devotional activities. Yeah? Due to that, he gets inspired. In this life, he is attracted like iron filings attracted to a magnet. Like that, he feels drawn towards Krishna, towards Bhagavad Gita, towards the association of devotees, And I have seen it with my eyes. Many people, there are boys in one corner of India. When we hold a camp in Pune, they travel sometimes 15 hours, 20 hours to come and join the camp. I have seen that. Why? Because simply by they have been hearing lectures, they have not met any devotees, but they want to come because that previous life, Bhakti Sukriti, it actually acts like a magnet. It draws you and it impels you to go closer to God and learn more and purify more and ultimately improve yourself in spiritual life. That's what happened to this deer. Now, in the next chapter, you will find Supreme character of Jada Bharata. So this Jadabharata, regarding him, so these are the three births, correct now? Oh, sorry. You can see this. Bharat, and then deer, and then Jadabharata. Now, what is the speciality of Jadabharata? I'll tell you. Jadabharata was extremely cautious, not to be distracted by any kind of uh, illusion. He wanted to be very careful. So you will see three situations he encountered. Before this incident, Jadabharata was born in a Brahmana family. He was a twin along with his sister. And there were other brothers also, but all his brothers were all thoroughly materialistic. He was born in a Brahmana family. So the father was very loving and caring. He wanted Jadabharata to go to, his name was Bharata only, but it's called Jadabharata. Why? Why is called Jadabharata? Huh? Yeah, he was behaving like deaf and dull and dumb on purpose. Was he like that? He was not like that. Purposefully, he behaved like that in order to avoid bad association. That was his intention. Because he thought if I behave normally, then people will come and waste my time. So, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Jitatmana prashantatma paramatma samahitaha shitoshna sukha dukkeshu tata manapamanayoho. He says that a person who tolerates the summer and winter, pleasure and pain, also honor and dishonor. See, summer and winter affects your body. Pleasure and pain affects your mind. Honor and dishonor affects your ego. So at the level of body, mind and ego, if somebody can cultivate tolerance of the situations that come in your life, that person, for him, super soul is already reached, Krishna is telling. Why is that so? The real game for you in life, the challenge I will tell you, two things everybody has to do in this world. One is material prescribed duties, another one is spiritual prescribed duties. And while playing this game of doing these two things, from the side, there are going to be some pushings and pullings which will come in the form of dualities. Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha, Manapaman. They will come your way. And also, there are vegams from inside. You know, Vacha Vegam, Manasa Vegam, Krodha Vegam, and all this. 6 vegams. Vegams from inside and dualities from outside. Both pressures are applied on us. So it's called as Dvandva Titik Shaya or Dvandva Sakishnuta, we call it. Now what is a Shita, Ushna, Sukha, Dukkha? I'll tell you an example, it will become easy for you. See, there was one festival day, one devotee had to go for a bath, but he quickly joined the queue and made a big plate of prasad. Pulao, kati, rasamalai, puran poli, everything. Big plate he made and he closed it. And then he kept it below his locker. And then he went for a bath. And then when he came back, and then he dressed up himself, wore tilak and everything, and he opened the plate and saw there was khichdi there. How is this magic? He said, what happened was, some special guest came. So another devotee took that plate and gave it to the guest, and then he replaced it with khichdi, kept it there. Because prasad got over, so they made additional khichdi, they made hot khichdi, so he kept it. He got wild, who did this? And then he found out the devotee and he picked up a fight with the devotee. How did you change this, Prabhu? The devotee said, no, Prabhuji, very, very big guest came, one special guest. Prasad had got over, only khichdi was there, so I gave this plate. So this devotee was doing tandav practically. So then that devotee said, Prabhu, Ranti Dev gave away everything. After 48 days, correct, no? You all know that first time? Ranti Dev, 48 days he had fasted, and then his body was trembling. And he took the plate of prasad to break the fast. At that time, a Brahmana came for charity, and then also one dog came with the dog's master also. So they all came. So these people are hungry and they were thirsty. So he gave away the plate of food, he gave away the water to them. And then he couldn't take anything. He just folded his palm and said, "Oh Supreme Lord, I only wish to see all living beings who are your children, part and parcels, happy in this world. And for their happiness, I am ready to forego my comfort. No, I can just, even if water is not there, no problem, I can survive even without water," he said. Immediately, those people, Brahmana, the Chandala, and the dog, and everybody changed into Shiva, Brahma, Indra, and all. And they all blessed him. Ranthi became a very great soul. He's a pure devotee. So that devotee was telling, Prabhuji, Ranthi Dev, 48 days he fasted and he gave away everything. We didn't give you everything, we gave you at least a khichdi plate you got. Why should you be so much? Then this devotee also realized, yeah, I shouldn't become so upset. See, if you become too upset with things, no, that is going to enter your mind and your bhajan will be disturbed. That's the whole problem. Your prescribed duty will be disturbed, material prescribed duty and spiritual prescribed duty both will be disturbed if your mind is disturbed. So now you imagine if this devotee maintains a vengeance towards other devotees, is it good? Is it good? It's not good. Then you can't do your thing peacefully. So here's the example of, because this devotee was having an eagerness to eat that food for the tongue's taste. So the tongue is very comfortable eating nice food. When the tongue did not get that food, it became angry. Correct, no? That is Shitoshna. We want the comfort of the senses. You see? Yeah. Like one time I remember we were sitting in a room and having a seminar like this, and it was very hot, sunny day. Everybody's body was hot, they were sweating. So I told them to put on the fan. When they put on the fan, wow, 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 like that, it makes sound. It makes. So then when you switch off the fan, everybody is sweating. Everybody is, and everybody is, they're feeling very uncomfortable. So which one should we do? It's like, you have a choice between sound or sweat. I ask the boys only, you tell me which one you are comfortable with. If you are able to hear my class, I will try to increase my volume. And along with the sound, if you can hear the class, then we can have the fan. Otherwise, we will switch out the fan. It's like asking, you want a pinprick or you want a pinch? It's like that. So the material world is like that. You'll always see that there are always some inconveniences will be there. Correct now? So, but when you are not ready to tolerate those inconveniences, they occupy your mind, then your bhajan will be affected. That's the whole point. So, this is about Shita Ushna. In the same manner, for Jadabharat also what happened, his brothers were mistreating him. They gave him burnt rice, which was sticking to the bottom of the vessel. That's what they gave him. And Jadabharata did not complain. Okay, I think it is God's will that they are giving me this. He just accepted that. And on the other hand, his father was very much pampering him, with nice, sweet words and trying to get him educated in the Gurukula, which he didn't agree to go. Because he didn't want to go to Gurukula and study the 4 Vedas. He wanted to become a Paramahamsa Mahabhagavat, pure devotee. He wanted to do bhajan of the Lord, not stuck in, puja part and then doing some Vedic mantra. He wanted to practice Paramahamsa's path. So his father was giving him comfort and his brothers were giving him discomfort. Correct, no? Then later on, his brothers engaged him in this, they made him a scarecrow. Scarecrow? The field they keep for driving away the crows and everything. Generally, they keep some stick or something with a shirt. In that place, they made him stand. They thought he's a muff. He agreed, no problem. If this is what you guys think, you think, I don't care. See, sometimes what others think of us, it deeply affects us. Correct, no? How can you say I'm not intelligent? People become angry. You've seen that? So you tell a person, hey Prabhu, you are little thin, you should eat good prasadam. They will surely agree. Yes. I am going to go to a dietitian. I'll go to a dietitian and make a very good diet and I will eat and I'll become very healthy, they will say. But you go to a person and say, Prabhuji, you are not very intelligent. Who said I am not intelligent? Correct. That's one thing nobody will agree in this world. Even a fool will not agree. Correct, no? Yeah, that everybody will fight. But he was not like that. Jadabharata thought, why to fight? Fighting will waste my time. Fighting will distract me. See Rup Sanatan, when they are in Vrindavan, when Rup Narayan came, he said, I am a Digvijay Pandit, conquering all big scholars across the world. So he said, you guys can come for a debate with me for a week if you want. Or you have to sign this Vijay Patrika. Rup Sanatan told him, okay, give the Vijay Patrika. Where to sign? Show it. You are a great soul. Take it and go. So they were not interested. Why? Because they didn't want to waste time. My time is meant for devotional service to Krishna. Why to waste time with you? So they didn't entertain him. They sent him away. So we may think that, oh, they are, Rup Sanatan are such intelligent people, you know. They didn't care a fig about Rup Narayan. I mean, they left him. Not only that, see, nowadays people say, because this problem is there, that problem is there, therefore I am not able to chant, they say. But Rup Sanatan were living at a time and Mughal rule was there in India. At that time, the Mughal king, Nawab Hussain Shah, called these two boys, Amar and Santosh. They both belong to a Brahmin family from South India. They call GBS, we call it. That Gaudiya, Saras, GSB. Gaudiya, they are called as Gauda Saraswat Brahman. Very pure class of Brahmins from Karnataka. He came to know that these two boys are very intelligent boys and they are like the leaders of the whole Hindu community. So the ministers told him, so Nawab Hussain Shah called for these two boys and said, see, if you work under me as Home Minister and Finance Minister, I will give you the honor with a Muslim title. Like I'll give you names like Sakar Malik and Dabir Kaz. Sanatana Goswami is Sakar Malik and Rupa Goswami is Dabir Kaz. I'll give you titles. So he gave them topi and beard so they can sit in the court along with all other Muslim leaders. They can sit and they can be finance minister and home minister. And if you don't accept this, I will trouble the Hindus, he said. And if you accept this, Hindus can just pay their tax, whatever tax was levied on them, and I will not trouble them, and you can take care of the Hindus. So these two boys thought, we don't want to work in this court, in this post, but if we do this, Hindu community can peacefully go on with their religious duties. So keeping that in mind, they accepted this post. So then they were given this title, Sakara Malik and Dabirkas. They were given one palace. When I went to Bangladesh, I saw the ruins of the palace even now. Even now it is there. Each one of them are given palace. And they had a boatload of gold coins, not currency notes. Boatload of gold coins. You can imagine, for you, one palmful of coin is enough for your life. And they were having boatload of gold coins. Can you imagine? So rich these two people were. So now you tell me, if you are in that post, do you think you can do Krishna consciousness peacefully? You are in the court, you are in the court with all other Muslims, Allahu Allah, all of them. There's mosque and everywhere. Their activities are only going on. Day in and day out, you see only them. But these two brothers, what they did, behind their palace, in the garden, they made a Gupta Vrindavan. In the Gupta Vrindavan, they made Govardhan, Yamuna, Radhakund, Shyamkund, everything they made, small, behind. And there they used to go and sit and study Srimad Bhagavatam as a private life. They are practicing like that. Why am I telling you this example? Every one of you sitting here, you all are rigidly put by your karmic situation in a certain way. In that situation only, you should find ways and means to become Krishna conscious. Without blaming the situation or blaming the people or saying that, Prabhuji, you are a brahmachari in the temple, comfortably staying and, practicing. If I was like you, I would have very easily practiced. Some people say like that. Don't compare your situation to another situation. Everybody's situation, they have some plus, some minus. You agree? Correct, no? So, therefore, you see your own situation in that is Shita Ushna, we call it. Some comfort. See, right now in winter season, your hot water is comfortable, correct now? And in summer season, which is comfortable? Cold water is comfortable. So our body wants accordingly. According to the season, it wants, correct now? That means you have some amount of comfort in your life, some amount of troubles in your life. So don't blame the troubles. Whatever comfortable you have, within that try to make your Krishna conscious as best as possible. That's what they were doing. Correct now? And they served for many years and afterwards at one point of time they connected with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and left that situation and went to Vrindavan afterwards, isn't it? So the Shita Ushna is there for everybody, the comfortable and uncomfortable situations. So in case you got into like one boy got into a job which was 3 shifts job, huh? First shift, second shift, third shift, one week he has to go to different shift. Now he wanted to get out of that job, but if he gets out, there's no other job. So 3 years or so, 3-4 years he worked in that job, struggled in his Krishna consciousness. And after that, with that experience, he got a better job after that. So in those 3-4 years, he struggled a little bit. But what to do? Our karmic reactions sometimes bring forth a certain type of situation which may be unpleasant for us. But that unpleasantness should not spoil your Krishna consciousness. So don't ask for what you don't have. Within the situation in which you have, try to find out how best can I practice Krishna consciousness. Like the deer, he was born in Kalanjara mountains. So he facilitated himself in such a way that he could advance in spiritual life. Agreed? So what he did, he left the Kalanjara mountain, he went to Pulahashrama. He ate dry grass instead of the green grass. Although both choices were there for him. Menu was available. You can tick mark green grass or dry grass. So he chose dry grass. He accepted that austerity in that situation. And he heard the saintly people also, and he repented. So that is the best he could do. In that life, he cannot do anything more than that. Correct, no? But he did his best. So we all have to check, am I doing my best in my situation? We have to check it. So Jadabharata was doing his best. See, Jadabharata's duty is what now? His brothers thought he is muff, he is dumb, he is dull. But internally, Jadabharata was ecstatically situated. He was constantly remembering Lord Vasudeva, chanting his holy names. See, when Jadabharata behaved like a fool, there was no one to disturb him. He could just sit in the field like a scarecrow and he can take his bead bag. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Peacefully he could chant. If he behaved like a normal person, many people would have taken his time. So he was free. So now, subsequently, what happened? Some dacoits saw him. They thought that they had one person for Bali in front of Kali, and that fellow escaped. So these dacoits, they captured Jadabharata and brought him, thinking that Jadabharata is very hefty, like a bull. So we can let us offer him in offering to Kali. Such it is avidina. The word is used in Bhagavatam. These vidhis are all not there in scriptures, but they concocted these dacoits. So what they did, they put a garland for him. They put chandan kumkum. They put silk dress in his body and gave him a big plate of delicious food also. So in this way, they gave him pleasure. These are all pleasures, correct, no? Nice food, silk cloth, and all these things. And then they put him on a balipita. And then they took the chopper and they wanted to cut his neck. That is dukkha. So first they gave sukh, then they are giving dukh. At the time, Kali's deity burst open. And Kali also expanded into a dozen forms. And the same chopper she took, and then she just cut off all the necks of those dacoits. And other expansions of Kali, they were taking those heads like balls and playing. See here. And Kali was, he was laughing also very loudly. Very loudly, laughter. There are Sanskrit words, you will read that. Loud laughter. Actually, Kali laughs in the battlefield also, where blood is flowing like river. So she said, you rogues and scoundrels, you are killing the Lord's pure devotee. I cannot bear this. So she cut off their heads. You can see the picture. So in this way, and all the associates drank the blood coming from the necks of those fellows. And Jadabharata just got up and walked out. So many lessons we learn from this. You will see here. See, the dacoits were low-minded. Jadabharata was the best friend of all living entities. They were bound by mode of passion and ignorance. But Jadabharata was no one's enemy. The dacoits had a desire to become rich by killing Jadabharata. But Jadabharata was absorbed in Supreme Lord, you see. They had the audacity to disobey the Vedic injunctions. But Jadabharata was faithful to the Lord, you see. So a comparison is made. So, in this way, actually it's very surprising. When they took the chopper to cut the neck, Jadabharata didn't protest. He thought, I think Lord Vasudeva is calling me now, I have to go now. Ready. So then Kali, on behalf of Lord's desire, she finished them, and then he escaped from there and proceeded ahead. So then as he proceeded ahead, he was walking in the forest. There was a king, Rahugana. He was a pious king. He was traveling in the forest in a palanquin carried by some men, and he was going to one Kapilashrama. Kapilashrama is a place where they also have Srimad Bhagavatam discussions, which means if the king is going for attending a class, he must be a pious king, correct, no? He's a good king. But at the same time, something happened there. So these men were finding it difficult to carry his palanquin. One of them was finding some difficulty. So they looked around and they saw Jadabharata. They caught him and brought him and said, hey, please lift this palanquin. So then he is lifting there. But being a Paramahamsa, he could not put his foot over the ants. He was moving this way, that way. But the other fellows were, Shudras were unmindful. They were putting the leg over the ants. So the palanquin is moving this way, that way. And the long story cut short, this Rahugana chastised Jadabharata very heavily. He said, you fool, you are so fat and plumpy, you are strong. Why are you moving the palanquin this way, that way? I can punish you like the Yamaraj, who is the Lord of Death. He punishes the sinful people. I can also punish you, he said. So, and then, don't you see, I am your master. This is the way you are carrying me, like that he said. So, that time Jadabharata thought that he is a devotee king. Now he is driven by Rajoguna. I think Yata Raja, Tata Praja. If Raja is bad, then Praja will also be bad. So better he be educated. So out of mercy, he spoke to him some words of wisdom. He said, my dear king, you are calling me fat or thin. I am soul. I am neither fat nor thin. He said, you may be the master, I may be servant now. In the next lifetime, our positions may reverse. So he said, and then he spoke very coolly. Immediately, Rahugana got down from the palanquin and fell at his feet and said, oh, great soul, who are you? You are wandering in this forest like an ordinary man. Now, the words that are emanating from your mouth go to show that you are a noble soul, great soul, realized soul. Please forgive me. I am afraid of committing any offenses towards you. And Jadabharata not only forgave him, he enlightened him very deeply about the spiritual subject matter, and Rahugana accepted him as a guru. You see that. So that means here Rahugana first gave him dishonor and then subsequently gave him honor. That means here you find in these pastimes, Bharata underwent all the six. Shita Ushna, Sukha Dukha, Manapama. In all the situations he was equipoised. Not only that, you will see that he gave knowledge to the king. After the king became enlightened, Jadabharata pushed off. He didn't wait 1 minute also. He had no attachment. He didn't ask the king, can you please accept me as a Rajapurohit and keep me with you? Some remuneration monthly. Nothing. See, this is the meaning of a true devotee. You see, our Shukadeva Goswami also, when did he meet Parikshit? After Parikshit left the king's post and went to the Ganges, only wearing a loin cloth. Yeah, correct, no? And Shukadeva Goswami did not have loin cloth also in the body. He was Digambar coming. You can see Guru is Digambar and disciple is loin cloth, that's all. And they both are sitting and discussing Krishna Katha ecstatically. There is no other motivation. Parikshit did not promise him any remuneration for the speaking of Bhagavatam, 5 lakh, 10 lakh rupees, something. Nothing. And the Guru has no expectation. Disciple only wants to awaken love for God. This is the way Bhagavatam can be appreciated. Otherwise, if any material motivation comes, immediately it is spoiled. So, and Shukadeva Goswami also, after teaching Bhagavatam 12 cantos, you will see, when Parikshit became realized, he didn't wait at all. He got up and walked away. That's all. He goes away. Because this is the way the Guru is. He has done his service, that's all. They have no attachments, no strings attached, no agenda, no motivation at all. So, one very important lesson we learn here is, if these dualities come in our life, we are going to take them very seriously. Our bhajan will be spoiled, I told you. One example I'll tell you. In one housing colony, there was a beautiful program going on. And 60, 70 people were coming for the program. One brahmachari used to go and give class. And the host had a big hall, probably half of this hall size. So he used to organize the program in his house. The brahmachari was going. Almost like almost 8 months, 1 year program went on. One day it so happened, the host was asking the brahmachari, so it's Kartik month is coming, can we celebrate Govardhan festival, Annakot festival in our next program next week? And the brahmachari said, why not? It's a very good idea. We should put up, then all the members can cook and bring prasad and everything. And they both were very happy. So now the host had a feeling that, I will announce about this program at the end of the program. I will announce about it and everybody will be very jubilant, enthusiastic. But the brahmachari in the middle of the lecture only he told, so next week we are going to celebrate Annakot, Govardhan festival. Hari bol, Hari bol. And he told all of them, so you all should cook, and bring prasad as per your capacity, and then we are going to put up here. So the host became offended. I am the host, I am the organizer of the program, and I am supposed to announce to people and what they should do and directions I should give. Instead of me giving direction, this fellow took over. So he became very upset. Then he later on told the brahmachari, after the class was over, he said, sorry Prabhuji, it's not possible next week, he said. He said, but we discussed about it before, Now I think I may have to go out somewhere. I may become busy. And the brahmachari had to tell the people that, I'm sorry, there is some difficulty here in this place, so what to do? Then another congregation, Prabhu raised hand and said, Prabhu, we have a similar house. Yeah, this program can be shifted to that place, he said. So then he said, Hari bol, Hari bol. Then we will move the Annakot festival from here to there coming week. And then after this Prabhuji comes back, then we can restart the program here, like that he said. So this host got little offended for that also. Because he wanted the brahmachari to suffer, correct, no? And the people not to have any facility, because I am supposed to be the host and everything. Actually, brahmachari's mistake was, he should not have taken the lead, because sometimes there is a competition, who is in control? I am in control, or host is thinking who is in control, and brahmachari is thinking who is in control. Actually, brahmachari is thinking, I am coming here to preach and these people are coming for me, like that he is thinking. And the host is thinking, I am hosting program and the poor brahmachari, I am engaging him, like that he is thinking. Correct, na? You understand, na? Both have their own ahankar. How many of you are understanding this example? Half of them understand, I think. How many find it little difficult? Honestly tell me, I'll explain. You understand? Everybody understands it? Okay. So, now the program was done there, Annakot, and Dhoom Dham se it became a very good festival. Actually, this family didn't go anywhere, they were there only. And they didn't go for that festival also. They didn't go, they were here. And what happened to this host? He was feeling very bad that such a wonderful festival, what happened there could have happened here. And I put a stumbling block. So he was thinking, the whole thing got spoiled. So he went to the temple and talked to the authorities and said, such a bad thing happened, such a nice festival would have happened in my house. Somebody else took over. And temple authorities were wondering why they took over. It's your house program and everything. And when the authorities heard the whole thing, they understood what happened. Correct, no? Now that other person who organized that Annakot festival, he said, Prabhu, henceforth program can be in my house only. He said. Then the brahmachari asked this host, Prabhu, should we have it here or should we have it there? He said, no, it should be here only. He said, because I am the one who started the program in this colony. Nobody else can take over this program. It's me who is running it. You have to do it here only. So then the brahmachari said, okay, if you really want it, we will do it here. So then he came. But some people were not happy with this host's attitude. They said, no, if it is here, we won't come. If it is there, we will come, they said. Then the program became divided. some 40 people here, 40 people there. And that host said, Prabhu, you give here if you want, but you should give there also. We want 2 programs a week. He said, 2 are not possible, he said. Then I can do 1 week here, 1 week there. And finally, both programs got dissolved. They could not run it because of the ego tussle between 2. Because they got into a pulling game. That fellow was pulling the people, he was pulling. The whole thing got spoiled. Now the program was stopped. More than a year, the program is not going. So, can anybody find out in this case study what is the root cause of this whole downfall of this program? It's a man apaman. Small, trivial thing. Brahmachari should not have announced. Brahmachari should have been little sensitive to the host. He made a mistake. At least he could have said a sorry to him. Sorry, Prabhuji, I think you are a little disturbed by this. You have to understand. These are very subtle things. Or the host could have tolerated, okay, such a small thing. Don't make a mole into mountain. See, many times, if you are going to make a mole into mountain, you should think about the losses involved. You should think about the losses that you will incur because of the ego clash. Yeah. Sometimes people say that, like one preacher was telling one, somewhere they were organizing some program. He said, if this is not there, then I won't come, he said. Then they said, okay, Prabhu, you are not able to come, we'll arrange another one. They arranged another one. He was just sitting and he was thinking, my Lord, I put too much condition, he felt. Too much demand I made. So sometimes we have too much demands arising from our own need for sukha dukh. It's not sukha dukh, only sukh only we want. We want sukh and man. We are not ready for the dukh and apaman, correct, no? So our mind is ready only for that which makes us comfortable. If you demand too much comfort, then sometimes you are going to lose the opportunity to serve. You understand the point? Yeah. Like one boy was telling, I will join your center, Prabhu, only if I am getting a single room for me to stay. They said, nobody has a single room. All the boys are sleeping in the hall, temple hall only, they are sleeping in the center. If we give you a single room, then everybody has to be given single room. Is it possible? He said, no, then I am not coming, he said. So he was not coming. All his friends came to the center and they boomed in their spiritual life. They were all wearing dhoti, kurta, chanting, dancing, flourishing in spiritual life. They are ecstatic, and only he was static. So he saw, what happened to me last 1 year? I am so dry in spiritual life. And then he understood the problem was I wanted comfort. Because of wanting physical comfort, I lost spiritual progress. You see, if I was little bit ready to adjust, I would have made tremendous progress. So this Sahishnuta, Dvandva Sahishnuta, Shita Ushna Sukhuta Kamanam, that's the main theme here. And there is also Paramata Sahishnuta. Paramata Sahishnuta means tolerating others' opinions. Quickly, I will show you one PowerPoint. See, this you all know this, the enmity between Drona and Drupada, correct, no? How this enmity came? It is all ego game. If you see here, in the Gurukula, Drupada told, when I become the king, I will give you half the kingdom, he said, correct, no? So he said, oh, thank you for the offer, like that he said. But later on, when Drona went to meet the king, Drona made one unreasonable request. Now what he said? Hey, my dear king, you had told me that you will give me half the kingdom. It is time for you to do that. It's time for you to give me half the kingdom that I deserve. Like that he said. So the king became very upset. So he said, hey, you are asking as if the kingdom is yours. Tumhara tone acha nahi hai. Your tone is not proper. And I can at the most give you one cow. And that too, you have to ask me with humility. Like that he said. Only that much I will give. So like that he said. See, sometimes it's very important how you say, what you say. You agree? Like if you are made in charge for the prasadam coupon, when people are coming one by one, you say, Bhaji, do you have prasadam coupon? Like that you should ask them. Coupon kya hai? Like that you cannot ask them. Correct. Same thing, but the tone can be different. So he came and asked, where is my half the kingdom? Give me. Like that he is asking. He said, hey, your tone is not proper. I, as a friend, told you that I'll give you half the kingdom, but the way you are speaking, you think it's half is yours. You don't have the hak, you don't have the right. If I decide, I may not give you at all. I may give you only a cow, and that too you have to demand, you have to ask me with humbling, humility. Like that he spoke. See, the whole thing, you understand the ego problem? And then how things happen if you see. Then Dronacharya walked back, as you see, he is walking back angrily. Then he is making the Pandavas into very good students and then sending them, to capture. Drupada was captured and defeated and brought. And then now he is tied up. And so now Drona said, "Oh, it seems your whole kingdom has become mine now." Huh? And then he said, "Anyway, I will give you arms. You are like a beggar now. Take this half kingdom and go." So Drupada became very offended. First of all, he defeated me through Arjun in a very bad way. And then he is giving half of my own kingdom. So he got very hurt. So he said, "You are a noble soul. Thank you. You didn't kill me. You spared my life. I want to be a lifelong friend in which I shall have my revenge." Like that he says. You see? That means he wanted to take revenge. So that Drishtadimna and Draupadi were born of fire. So Drishtadimna was born to kill our Dronacharya in the battle, you see. Later on, that Drishtadimna was killed by Ashwatthama on the 18th day. But well before that, on the 14th day, even before Drupada can see Drona killed, Drupada was killed before by Drona in the battle. That means Drona killed Drupada, and Drupada's son Drishtadyumna killed Drona, and Drona's son Ashwatthama killed Drishtadyumna. All this happened, small ego problem, that's all. Little ego tussle, that's all. So, we can keep in mind how you say, what you say. So, actually, if you politely speak, anybody will cooperate with you. If you bring your ego, no good it is. One boy had a t-shirt, "Leave echo, leave ego." Nice name, no, it is. So Vrindavan, in spiritual world, Golaka Vrindavan is like that. In Golaka Vrindavan, everything is eco-friendly. It's a forest. And also everyone is ego-friendly also. Correct, no? Even Lord has no ego. Krishna is free from false ego. He is behaving like a friend of cows and calves and deers and peacocks, monkeys and covered boys, covered girls. He doesn't play God. Who is God? Godhead gives up his godhood out of love for his devotees. He's controlled by the love of his devotees. So, see here, these are the lessons. Drona was insensitive in his expectations from old friend and expected sensitivity and loving reciprocation from Drupada. We often undermine our own role in the pain that we experience, correct, no? See, when we suffer, we blame others, but we don't know that how it all began. We only have begun it. You throw throw a ball on the wall, it comes and punches on your nose. You say, "Yeah, how it was punching?" Because we only threw it first. So the first mistake was done by Drona, and then it came back from Drupada, back and forth like that. A hurt heart wants to hurt back. So Drona hit back in two ways, defeating by Arjuna and returning half kingdom out of pity. So both of them forgot to stay human. They became very barbaric and revengeful and horrible, maintaining grudge and everything. We should be very careful. There's another story. Here you see Krishna, how he does it. See, Indra chastised Krishna very badly. You know that in the Govardhan Lila? Vachalam, Balisham, Stabdam, Agyam, Panditamaninam, Krishnam, Martyum, Upashitya, Gopame, Chakrarapriyam, like that he said. He says, wow, talkative boy, Krishna, Vachalam. Balisham, he's only a kid. He said, Stabdam, very stubborn. Agnyam, ignorant. Panditamaninam, he thinks he's a very learned fellow. And he is telling all the Vijayabasis to worship Govardhan. Krishna Martyam, he said, he's a mortal Krishna. Like that he said. Krishna is immortal, but he's saying, mortal. Krishna Martyam Upashitya Gopame Chakram. These Gopas have displeased me. I am going to heavily shower rain and destroy the whole of Vrindavan and cows and calves, he said. And although he insulted Krishna so badly, see, Krishna is giving Indra dignity. See in this picture, after the whole pastime is over, Govardhan Lila is over, Krishna told Ujjabasis, I need some private time. You all do what you want. So he came to this place, in the Govindakund, alone. No one else is there. And why is he meeting Indra alone? because he didn't want to, in front of everybody, insult him. So here you will see the Godnila. Now Krishna is standing alone. At that time Indra comes here. See, Krishna will see. You're seeing? And then Krishna will turn his eye. See? Saw that? See, he saw, and then he turns his face away. Okay, let him come. That means he knows everything. Huh? And Indra is coming with a very, very shameful heart. Krishna wants him to repent and feel that reform. So Indra is putting this thing down. Pita gurustam jagatamadiso duratyaya kala upatta dandaha hitaya checha tanuvisamihase manam vidhunvan jagadisha maninam. Oh my dear Lord, you are Jagat Guru. You not only destroyed my false pride, like a Guru, you purified me also. You reformed me, he says. And then when Indra glorified Krishna and then had exchange, heart-to-heart exchange, Krishna preached to him. So Krishna tells him that, my dear Indra actually wants to keep that mukut down and tell Krishna that I don't want to be Indra anymore. I surrender this padavi. I do Rajinama from the post. But Krishna told him, no, my dear Indra, you may go now. Don't give up the post, give up your pride, ego. Krishna tells him. So Indra is very ashamed. Gamyatam shakrabhadram vaha. Gamyatam. Now you may go now, Indra. Kriyatame anushasanam. As per my teaching, you should do rule. Stiyatam swadikareshu yuktairva stamba varjitaihi. Stamba varjitaihi. Give up your false pride, he says. So in this way Krishna speaks. One last thing I'll say. These two girls, Sarmishta and Devyani, they are friends. Sarmishta is king's daughter and Devyani is Brahmana's daughter, Shukracharya's daughter. So one day they went to the riverside and they were taking a bath. One small mistake she did, Sarmishta. After coming out of the water, she took the dress of Devyani and put it on her body. And Devyani saw, hey, this Kshatriya girl, she has worn my dress, now it has become untouchable for me. She is of inferior caste, she thought. So she shouted, Sarmishta, as a Devyani, hey, foolish girl, like a dog entering the house of a Brahman and taking away the clarified butter kept for sacrifice. You have taken away my clothes, like that she said. Because she is a Brahmani girl, she was talking like as if the dogs are like Kshatriyas and the clarified butter is kept for yajna in a Brahmana's house. We are great and you are small. Something like that she spoke. And Sarmishta became annoyed, angry. How dare you are insulting us, Kshatriyas? She immediately picked her up and threw her in the well, see, in a dry well. See? Therefore in dry well she put it. Because Devyani was a Brahmani, she had a sharp tongue. And Sarmishta was Kshatrani, she showed in action. But Kshatriya show by small thing, you see. Later on, Devyani was screaming, help, help, help. And Sarmishta went away. So you find, and then this Yayati Raja was passing by in the forest, he came and saved. But the point I am telling you, the episode doesn't stop here. After that, so many problems came. Yayati is, it's a Pratiloma marriage. He's a Kshatriya fellow and she's Brahmani. Woman should be, Kshatriya, like our Devahuti, and then Kardama is a Brahmana. That's ideal. This is opposite. Pratiloma marriage happened. And Sarmishta, she told Sarmishta should come with me with 1,000 maid servants. She said that with me, and so many things happened after that. All complications happened. All because of this one small, what do you call it? Making a trivial thing into big thing, making a mole into mountain. It's called as bringing a machine gun for a mosquito. Imagine the mosquito is flying in the room, you bring a machine gun, like that you shoot. And 3-4 devotees die. Somebody is asking you, hey, what happened? What happened? And you say, no, Prabhuji, I was shooting the mosquito. See, what I am saying may appear funny, but due to small ego tussles, centers have closed down. You know that? It's not an exaggeration. People who are very good devotees fought over trivial issues. So what we learned from Jadabharata, in essence, is what Srila Prabhupada says in one of his statements, which I will request you to repeat after me. One's greatness must be estimated by one's ability to tolerate provoking situations. You understand? Huh? So, this is tolerance. There are 4 types of tolerance. We told you about Dvandva Titikshaya. Dvandva means Shita Ushna Sukha Dukha Manapman, that is. And then Vega Sahishnuta means Vacha Vegam, Manasa Vegam, Krodha Vegam, Jihva Vegam, Udara Vegam, Apastha Vegam. These 2 are one from inside, one from outside. We have to tolerate this. Then there is also Para Utkarsha Sahishnuta. If somebody is progressing, you don't become envious of them. When envy comes, you dissolve it. Like Dhruva was taught how to give up envy for stepmother. And Para Mata Sahishnuta means others' opinions we should tolerate. Because God works through different devotees differently. Actually, multiple opinions means complementing each other rather than competing with each other. So, I could only speak part of it, not all the 4, but mainly we focused on Dvandva Titikshaya. Today it's very important thing. Your prescribed duties of Varnashrama, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, Sannyas can go on peacefully, and both your material and spiritual duties can go on peacefully if you can tolerate these things. Where is it in Bhagavad Gita? 2.14, what is it? Matras parashascha kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agamapayino nityastam stitikshasva bharata. And the next verse, yam hi na vyatayantyete purusham purusharishabha samadukka sukham dhiram somritatvaya kalpate. He says that if you tolerate these urges, then your mind and body are peaceful to focus on your duties. And if you do the duty gives you 2 things. It gives you knowledge and liberation. Actually, by tolerating these urges and focusing on our duty, our knowledge is awakened and we become liberated from the material entanglement and we go back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. I am here for a few minutes. If somebody has questions personally, you can ask. Otherwise, I wanted to finish by 9:45. Every day it gets late for you all. Hare Krishna.
MLA has come.
Okay.
So I just
You can announce it.
I will announce. I will just garland him when he comes.
Yeah.
यहाँ के विधायक आए हुए हैं, श्रीमान अरुण पाठक जी, जो कि यहाँ पर से स्नातक विधानसभा सीट जो है उसके विधायक हैं और लगातार 3री बार वो चुनाव जीते हैं और इस बार तो लगभग बहुत बड़े अंतर से 45-50 हजार वोटों से जीते हुए हैं। तो उसके बाद उस जीत के बाद वापस इनका पहली बार हमारे मंदिर में आगमन हुआ है। आज इनका स्वास्थ्य सही नहीं है, फिर भी इस पावन अवसर पर आए हैं। तो हम रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं श्रीमान राधेश्याम प्रभु से कि उनका स्वागत करें भगवान राधा माता जी का पुष्पहार पहना करके। हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। धन्यवाद। तो अरुण पाठक जी समय समय पर यहाँ मंदिर में आते रहते हैं, उनका बहुत स्नेह है। हाँ, सारे एक्सप्रेशन प्रोग्राम में आए हुए हैं और सारे ऐसे स्पेशल प्रोग्राम में हमारे इनविटेशन में आते रहते हैं। ठीक है।